Welcome to Hey Gurl. I'm your host, Bill Janisse. Join me every week where I sit down with one of my amazing and talented friends who are experts in their field, and we have a little chat. All right, welcome back. We made it to the season 2 premiere of Hey Gurl. I am very excited today because I'm joined with a very fabulous guest, of course. She is a filmmaker, a writer, a dancer, a choreographer, a model, just all around, just brilliant artist. She's like an everything type artist, you know. There's nothing she can't do. But I'm thrilled to introduce Eboni Adams. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
I know you just can't. You just can't say it without smiling or laughing after, right?
You have to. Hey,
you have
girl.
to. Right.
Or like, well, purse the lips, like whatever you got.
There's a little something. There's a purse lip and an April Ma. Right.
Hey.
I can never tongue pop. Right.
Girl. Hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Listen. All right. Listen. I have to just tell everybody this story. I have to open with this story because it's just too much. So I hope you don't mind if I tell. But Eboni was actually scheduled to be my very first guest back in season 1 when I didn't quite know what I was doing. And we filmed it. And I don't really even remember what happened. We sure did. We filmed it, and we got some great content, but I don't even really quite remember what happened, but it wasn't usable. And it was my fault. It was something on the technical side. I don't remember if I forgot to hit record, or I don't remember if I don't think it was that. And it wasn't that simple. It was I just was using like the wrong software or something, or maybe I had too many programs running on my computer. I don't know, and it was affecting the audio. So I was like, oh my gosh, Eboni, I'm really sorry. I was like, can we try it one more time? And she was so gracious. She came back and did it a second time the next day. And somehow I messed it up again.
Dun, dun, dun.
So then no, she's been gracious. So then I was embarrassed to ask her to do it again for a very long time. And I think the whole season she was like, when is my episode coming out?
Yeah, I was like, when is my episode? Maybe he's saving it for the finale. Wait, the finale already happened.
It happened. So I have to just open with saying thank you so much for being so gracious and coming back a third time to share your story because it's so fabulous. So let's jump in. Listen, Eboni Adams. Okay, so you it feels weird calling you by your full name. Eboni Adams. All right, so hold on. Give me a second. All right, so Eboni has worked for, let me just list off like your very impressive resume here, some of these highlights here. She's worked with Celine Dion, Gloria Estefan, Justin Timberlake, Lula Washington, Rob Marshall. You've seen her on the Emmys, you've seen her on General Hospital. She's worked for the LA Opera. She's choreographed for the Atlanta Opera. She's done, she has a short film called Grace that has won awards and been featured in many film festivals. She has a web series on Amazon Prime, and she's also working on some new films. So where do we begin? Where do we start, girl? With you. No.
The beginning.
She's like, so I was born in Texas. No.
Well,
let's just start with the dance career. Let's just start there. What was it, that brought you? You and I met in Las Vegas many moons ago, and tell me about. I think with Celine Dion was A New Day. Was that your first? What you would consider like your first big dance job?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that experience, because I think that I remember there's a pretty interesting audition experience there.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Texas, from Austin. So after I graduated college, I went up to Chicago and trained with Gus Giordano Jazz Dance Chicago for 2 years on a scholarship program in the second company. And I just knew I was going to get into the first company.
I love you.
They didn't get the memo. So,
they didn't know, but you knew. Who was doing the second company? Was it Nan or what's Amy? Was it Amy or Nan, or were they both involved?
Both, but Eddie Ocampo was, overseeing it. Yep. Because we know some of the same people. I think we may have figured out that we were in Chicago at the same time, just never met or something.
Yeah, it was something like that. Okay, so I guess we should just let everybody in on the fun.
Yes.
Yes, of course. As I mentioned, Eboni and I, obviously, we've known each other for a while, but Eboni and I used to live together. Eboni was my very first friend here in Las Vegas. We So we both came from Chicago, moved here from Chicago, but we had never met. But yeah, we kind of realized that our times had probably overlapped. But we met through a mutual friend when they knew that I was moving to Vegas and she was already living there with a house, and I was looking for a roommate. And we arranged the situation that we were going to live together without ever meeting in person.
Ever meeting. I was
And
like,
this is before like FaceTime and stuff, so we were just going off of each other's voice.
And we don't even want to talk about that story.
Well,
funny story, but I don't know. So.
Oh, are you talking about because I thought you were a bill collector that I didn't want to answer? Yeah, I'll tell it. Yeah, so basically, when she called, I don't remember if I had reached out to her via email or if I called first. I'm not
Willis
really sure.
Introduced us. Willis somehow, connected us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when she reached out to me, I didn't recognize the phone number, and I was a starving artist, and I assumed it was a bill collector, so I didn't answer. Oh, no, I did answer, but I pretended like it wasn't me, because I wanted to know who it was. Because she's like, can I talk to Bill? And I was like, I'm sorry, he's not available. And then when I realized who it was, I was like, okay, well, it was me. I just didn't know. Not a good interview for somebody you're considering renting a room to.
Anyhow, we have an interesting and fun history and a lot of really great memories.
Yes, we do. We had a lot of fun at that house on Darmac.
Yes, that was the house. So Chicago. Okay, so it didn't happen the way that I had planned, and I decided to move to New York. I had family in New York, so I knew I could stay there. I stayed in Queens. And I'm like, I'm going to be on Broadway. And then I auditioned to put this in context, I moved there a week before 9/11. So that was
that's a whole thing.
Yeah. And that day, actually, I had a call back for Saturday Night Fever. And I was like, this is happening. And obviously, I didn't go to that callback. That didn't happen. And I kept auditioning for anything and everything under the sun, received a couple of contracts, and then those fell through. And then I auditioned for a show it was backstage. I love telling this story because this was before you could really scour the internet and find things. It was backstage, like the printed,
like the newspaper, the magazine,
like
or the newspaper.
when we used to read books,
the hard copy publication.
Yes, exactly.
She was swiping the page. She's like, "How do you turn this page?"
Yeah, there was no swiping monitor or anything. Exactly. There's no pinching it open to expand it. Okay.
It was like
exactly. And for this particular audition notice, you would have wanted to actually open it up, like zoom in, because it was all the way, it was on the last page or second to last page, which was almost felt like the classifieds. And it was a small, exactly.
Which would be like, for those who don't know, that's kind of like OnlyFans. That's like the OnlyFans section of that.
And it was a small.
Girl, are we that old? that some people don't know? I don't know if some people know what we're talking about.
We are not old. We are established.
We are established, yes.
There we go.
Okay, sorry. So it was in the back and it was small print. It was not very like advertised is the point.
At all. And it said, mail your headshot and resume for a new show, Franco Dragon production. I think it said Celine Dion looking for acrobats, yada, 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 dancers, this and this and that. And I printed out.
Sorry. I don't even know. Did you know? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Let me just break so we can cut it there.
Yeah.
Did you know were you familiar with Franco Dragon's work at that point? Just by seeing his name printed?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I was just curious. But and then Celine was.
Celine.
No. I feel like I've heard some people say it wasn't there. Her name wasn't on there. It was just Franco's, and some remember that it was. So maybe it was different in different cities. I don't know.
Yes, I mean, we ended up, if I'm jumping a little bit, we ended up being 50 dancers. Okay, so from all over the world. So when I would talk to like a good dancer friend, colleague of mine, Era, she told me that she auditioned 1.5 to 2 years before I was seen the audition notice.
Gotcha.
Right. So, and she auditioned, she's Canadian, she auditioned in Canada. So, so I send my headshot resume. They explain that they'll contact you you, if they want to invite you
If
to
you're
the audition.
invited, yeah. If you're invited to the
You're
audition,
invited.
yeah.
I got invited. And then I remember receiving an email saying that I was invited to the audition. Audition process was different from any other audition process I've been in. It spanned over like 8 hours. When we arrived, they had 30, 60 people in the room, and their announcement was, we are thankful that you guys are here, but just so you understand the process, it will be a long one. There's going to be several cuts. We will take you through a full dance audition, an acting improv exercise, and then if you make it to the end, you will go through a voice exercise as well. You will have a lunch break, and just so you know, at the end of the day, there will only be 3 people that will make it to the end.
Oh,
And this
wow.
yeah, that's how they started the audition.
Right. They just were managing your expectations right off the bat, right?
Yeah, and this was one of 3 days of auditions of like invited calls for New York City, but they were
Got it.
hopping around. Yeah.
And so essentially they were going to have 9 people at the end of their 3-day auditions in New York
Yes.
to keep moving on. Okay.
Yep, to keep auditioning in different cities. And so I was like, okay, great. I'm just gonna do my best. I have not, it's at the point where you audition so much, you
You
want
just
to
do it. Yeah.
You just do it.
Yeah.
And each time I was like, oh, I made the next one, the next one. Okay. So the end of at the end of the day, we were actually left with, I want to say 6 people, 6. And they were like just score. They had like a little score.
Sure.
Yeah,
Like
a little
scorecard or something. Yeah.
scorecard. Yeah, and we ended with the vocal evaluation, and then that was it. Took the train to the bus back to Queens in an hour, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Moving on to the next audition.
Sure.
Didn't hear anything for a while. I then got an email saying, thank you so much for auditioning. Oh, I love telling this story too, because the first notice that I received was, thank you for auditioning. We have fulfilled all of the dance slots. We will notify you if anything changes. So here we go. Rejection. No.
So yeah, you're just like, all right, well, moving on. Yeah.
Moving on. So I went on with the whole auditioning process, whatever I could find in backstage again. And again, I was living with my aunt and uncle, and I walk in one day from being in the city taking class at Broadway Dance Center. And my uncle's like, hey, kid, someone from Belgium called. And I don't know anyone from Belgium.
Right.
I have a really good girlfriend of mine, Nina. She's from Switzerland. We met training at Gus.
You met at Giordano. Yeah.
At Giordano, yeah. And I was like, are you sure it wasn't Switzerland? Like Zurich?
You're like, Uncle G, I'm not that worldly.
Yeah, Uncle G. Yeah, Uncle G. Yeah. Uncle G. And I was like, I don't know anyone from Belgium. And then I took a second and I was like, wait, I sent my headshot and resume to Belgium because that's where Dragon was based. And he's like, well, they said they'll call you back. And I ran upstairs, turned on the computer, and it took a long time.
This was probably dial-up back then. Yeah, right.
And I checked my Hotmail. Just dating ourselves. Okay, Hotmail.
At least it wasn't AOL.
There are people that still have Hotmail, though. So
yeah, some people do. Yeah.
And there was an email from Dragon Production.
Yeah.
Saying we would like to offer you a contract, and I was like, this can't be real.
I love it.
Be real. It can't be real. And I love this story for so many reasons because I graduated from college. There were times when I felt really low. I graduated with a BFA from Sam Houston State University. Went to Chicago on scholarship. Thought I was going to get into the second company of of Giordano's dance company. It didn't happen. Moved to New York. Auditioning like crazy. No. Yes, but the contract falls through. No. And then told no on this one. I keep moving on with my life. shedding tears, like, what am I doing? Like, I have a student loan to pay. Maybe people are right. You can't make it as a dancer. And then you get this surprise of your life. So you could just never, even when there's a no, somewhere there's a yes. I'm not saying for that particular job, but the no leads to other opportunities, whether it's something that you create for yourself or they actually do keep you on file. And
Right. That is a real thing.
It's a
Right.
real thing.
Do you
So,
remember when we lived together? I think I was going through a moment like that, and where in my life, and I kept saying that was all the feedback I kept getting. I said that I was always making it to the end of auditions, but not booking. And I said I was going to write. I don't know if you remember this. I said I was going to write an autobiography called On File.
yeah. But you know what? What's so beautiful about that is that um, making it making it through the rounds and through several cuts still means something.
Absolutely.
It still means something. Getting invited to the audition is still a win.
It is a win. You're right.
So it's
Especially for
literally
those auditions where you have to be invited. They're not cattle call. It's
absolutely.
invite. Yeah.
Absolutely. So now I look at any sort of audition I do, whether it pertains to dance or acting. The fact that I'm invited, for me, I treat it as my callback. It's already my callback. I'm already winning. Because
I love
no,
you.
no, no, but
You're right.
it's really just shifting perspective because we also have to think about how many people were submitted for the job. And that was a cut within itself. So I'm just grateful just to be in the room and be able to dance and introduce myself to people and see what happens. Yeah.
One of the things I always loved about A New Day, I was fortunate enough because I knew some people in the show
Yeah.
that I was able to see the show quite a few times as an audience member, and obviously it was still remains one of my favorite live shows in Las Vegas, and one of the things that always struck me every night was the reciprocal and synergistic energy from you guys and Celine to the audience. It was always appreciative. It's a vibration I always picked up on. And Celine even would come out and say that in one of her scripted moments, that she would say, we're all so grateful that you gave us a chance to perform for you.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? I think it was before I'm Alive. See, look, I know the show better than you remember. No, okay.
And you're like, it opens with this and closes, yeah.
Right.
No, well, first of all, you can't help but feel that energy because of the way it's called the Colosseum. So the way it was built after the Colosseum, where you have the audience members surrounding you in that half moon, and you have 4,000 people in one place, and there's no bad seat in the house.
No bad seat in the house. And that's so true. I know people say that all the time about certain venues, but it is so true at the Coliseum in Las Vegas.
Right.
Any seat. Even from the light booth, if you watched from the light booth, I was thrilled to be up there. It
Right.
didn't matter. People think, I have to be close and center. You don't. In that theater, you didn't have to. And that stage, let's talk about that stage. That stage was a raked stage. Talk to me about the challenges of dancing on that stage. Explain what that is first, and then tell us about it.
Yeah, so there's an incline, right? So no matter where, so if you look at downstage, which is going to be closer to the audience, it tilted down, right? And then further up,
It was downhill.
Yeah, downhill. And then upstage, a little bit further away from the audience. The reason for that is so no matter, and again, talking about there was no bad place to sit in that theater, is so that if you were downstage of me, and I was upstage of you, we wouldn't be blocking each other because we're on a rake stage, so that you can see the depth and see everyone. So that was really cool. It was actually my first time dancing on a rake stage, so it did take some getting used to.
I would imagine there were a lot of initial injuries while people were trying to figure out the lay of the land, the literal lay of the land.
Well, the good thing is that while the Coliseum was being built, all 50 dancers, we didn't meet in Vegas. I had never even been to Vegas before that. We all met in Belgium, in a small little town called La Louvière, where Franco Dragon's production company is, and rehearsal space. So we stayed there for 4.5 months, and we rehearsed, and it's called creation, because they're building it from the ground up. So they built a rake stage for us and those
To
sort of
rehearse on.
so that we could rehearse on it and get used to that for
Well,
sure.
that's good. I mean, that's definitely helpful. What
Yeah.
do you think the benefit? I mean, talk to me a little bit from your own experience about what are the benefits and perhaps challenges on the other side of the spectrum to being part of a creation as opposed to coming into an already established show.
And already, okay. Well, I will say this 50 dancers, we are all in creation, and Dragon asked a lot of us, right? So he asked for all of us to show up, which means that you have to be super vulnerable and
And that's not
really.
easy.
No, it's not easy. You're in for a lot of us. This was a new place. Like we've never been to Belgium.
Yeah, with new
We
people, totally.
new people.
Probably
And
some people that didn't speak the same language as you.
absolutely, like one of my roommates, Valentina, she was from Roma and only spoke Italian, but somehow always came to me for a translation. I don't speak Italian.
Girl,
American
you barely speak English.
speak American English.
Right.
But she'd be like, Ebony, what did they say? And I'm like, we have rehearsal tomorrow at 3.
You were one of those people that just decided to translate by speaking slower.
I didn't understand why. I realized that every other like English speaking person there, which I feel like I speak really fast, but I guess when I would talk to her, I would slow things down, and she's like, "You're the only one that I could understand."
Oh, that makes sense. That's
So,
sweet. Girl, will
so
you remember, not to digress, but you remember
yeah.
that one time me and you were talking at like Alejandro's house and his boyfriend who only spoke a small amount of English, and you and I were talking, and it basically that helped me tell the story, but it was basically, yes, you and I both talk fast, and then we also feed off each other. So
Yeah,
like
and
so
it's
we
like
were
funny to hear
going
that, or like,
fast.
yeah,
Yeah. This poor
there's
guy
no
didn't
cost
understand
to
us. Yeah, this poor guy didn't understand us, and we weren't doing it to be rude. But then, like, I think when he said something, and I was like, he actually said, he's like, you guys are too fast or talk too fast, and I was like, oh, he doesn't know what he's saying. Like, he's like, no, you two talk too
it.
fast.
And I think he also said too much.
That's probably too much. That's probably what it was. Yeah, he probably was like, you guys talk too much, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, he's so funny. He doesn't speak English. He doesn't know what
And
he's
he's
saying.
like, what, but I know for sure that you guys haven't taken a breath since I've been here. And I've been here for 2 hours. Don't know what you're saying, but breathe, breathe, breathe. So, yeah, going
Back to
back
creation. Back to creation. Yeah.
going back to creation, being super vulnerable, and so you are trying to get seen, right? 50 dancers. This is what I can do, and also dancers with different
Skill
special
sets.
skill sets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
So
part
it's
was
almost like people don't realize, like, even though you booked the job, there's still another door. There's still another test. There's still another.
I'm telling
Okay,
you
I'm in it. Now I have to prove that I belong here. I have to
exactly.
keep proving that I belong here.
And I think that that was part of the challenge, is being a part of a new show with 50 dancers, working with Franco as the choreographer and collaborating with Mia Michaels, Franco as the director, excuse me, and Mia Michaels collaborating with her as the choreographer,
Sure.
and with our ballet master Jean-Emile, and just there's so
Jean-Emile,
much,
yeah, of course.
there's so much input. And so much feedback that you're giving, and when you're on, when you're called, you need to be on, because
Yeah.
it would work like this. They turn off all the lights in our little black box theater, and Franco would be on the God mic, and he'd say something like Ebony, and he'd call your name. You're standing in the center of just this black box.
Sure.
All the other dancers that you do not know. You're not friends. You don't know each other. You're all new.
Right.
It's the first day of school. And he'd put on his favorite music, whatever that was, and he'd say, "Who are you?"
Ooh, ooh. And then you're like,
Exactly.
am I supposed to slate Eboni Adams from Austin, Texas? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
He's
and
like,
you
no,
have
bitch, not literally. He's like,
yeah, yeah.
show me who you are.
Yeah, exactly. Show me who you are through movement, and so
Wow.
yeah. So that was so, and being
What an
younger, and
experience, though.
I am telling you, it is so raw and so vulnerable, and you can't hide behind any curtains or anything,
Do you
right?
think that with that experience that you even found out things about yourself you didn't know?
Yeah, I did. It definitely, I have to say, brought up an insecurity. So something that, or insecurities,
Yeah, I
because
mean, it would for me
something that
too. I
you,
would imagine it would. Yeah.
right. So something that you said earlier, which was, you know, there are other steps after you have the
Get the
contract.
job. Yeah.
Yeah,
Get the
after you
contract. Yeah.
get the contract, get the job. And because this was so brand new and they didn't know, we were all collaborating together and co-creating. They didn't know what they liked until they liked it.
Right. Right.
Right? Whereas when you go into an established show, it's been running for a certain period of time. They know what works. So when you're auditioning for, to take so and so because, she fulfilled her contract and she's
Right.
moving on, there's already a structure there. So
Sure.
when you
And you have to
audition,
fit that mold as opposed to.
exactly.
So, but don't you think that's also kind of exciting, like as a performer? I mean, obviously it's
It's
challenging and it's vulnerable
exciting,
and
but
it's
it's scary. It's
scary.
also
Yes,
very
scary.
scary because every day then did feel like an audition. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, this is not over. And
Right.
so it kept you, it kept you really present. And I think that was the most important thing that I got from it is it really just helped me grow and mature as an artist like that, where
Yeah.
you don't have this sense of complacency. Like when it is time to create, you need to be present creating, whether it be you being called up on stage or what he would do was call several people. Again, you don't know them. And now he's like, who are you? And now you have to create on the spot. And it either works or it doesn't. And you would know if it worked if you stayed up there for a second song and he added more people, or if he said things like, thank you, Ebony.
Oh, okay. Ooh. Like
Yourself.
no
And
real feedback except for you have to read that it is a what would
right.
he say if he didn't like it? Would he just say, okay, never mind, go away? Like what?
No, no, no. He would just say thank you, and then you would go and you'd watch him build, and everyone build together, and then maybe there was a movement, something that you did, and he was like, just repeat that, do that over and over again, and it's like, whoa. So it was a test. It was a great test. I think it set me up, and as a dancer, and I love being a dancer. I love dancers. I love dance. It's you have to, as a dancer, just be super fluid and pliable and balancing. Something he would say is balance the stage. And so he would have us all go on stage, and then all of a sudden, maybe stage left is just crowded, and only he's like, figure it out, balance the stage. And I think that has helped me through life. Like
Sure.
you adjust, you just
Yeah.
keep adjusting. Yeah.
I
So
love that perspective. Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
What was okay? I have to ask this because I'm sure some of our listeners will be mad if I don't.
Okay.
What can you tell us? Can you give us any tea, fun or not? I'm sure most of it's fun because I do know you personally. But tell me what it was like. Sum it up. What it's like working for Miss Dion.
Miss Celine Dion.
Dion. I mean, she was always
Dion.
very interactive with you guys, even off stage, right?
Absolutely. So that's the other thing that was new for me. I'm like, okay, we're working with this amazing artist. What is she going to be like? Like in
Right.
person.
When
I
was it?
know,
Was it like 3 or 4 months before you met her, like into creation, or what was that
um,
timeline?
I think it was like a month and a half.
Okay.
She actually surprised us in Belgium at a
Hmm.
rehearsal. Yes, so she surprised us and she was everything all and people ask me this all the time like, so how was it working with Celine? How like what is she like? And all of the loving, fun energy, enthusiasm that you see on screen is her 1000%. It is authentically who she is, who I knew her to be, how I experienced her. And because we did the show for so long, I'm like, I don't know how you would be able to pretend that
That for
every
so
single
long,
day.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
No, I mean she's
that is who she is. just an amazing. But she was as giddy and as excited as we were
Sure.
because this was
Nobody
new.
had done a show like that before.
Right. So this was also very new for her. So, it was her first day at school as well.
Well, I think that's something that's important to point out and remember as well is that, I mean, we're at a point now in 2021 that we're used to seeing headliners do big, elaborate residencies in Las Vegas. But what people need to remember is that A New Day was the very first one to do that. It was the
Yes.
first time that somebody said, "Okay, do we have an artist? Do we have a headliner and all the other pieces, the dancers, the musicians, the technical, whatever? Do we have a formula here that is going to encourage people to actually get on a plane and come sit here and watch this, as opposed to like an arena tour where the artist comes to you. They come to your city and you go see the concert.
Right.
It was a concept that was, I think, I mean, obviously it worked, and it only works with the right formula, with the right person. But I still think that nobody has done it on the level Celine did, in the level that you guys did it with A New Day. Even though when she came back, she didn't do as many dates, and now you see headliners kind of rotating in and out on their residencies in shorter blocks. You guys were full time, like
We were
5 days a
full,
week.
we were full time, and also, I mean, we're competing with Vegas. People go there to gamble,
Right.
not to watch shows. If you want to go see an amazing show, you go to New York, you
New
go to
York, yeah.
Broadway.
Or
And
Paris or
so,
somewhere. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. So, a lot of us thought, like, are we really going to pull this off? Like, we get, like, Celine Dion is a huge star, but we're
Right.
competing with the whole gambling industry. 4,000 seats? Like,
Four
4,000 people?
thousand seats. Yeah, 5 nights a week.
Yeah, for 90 minutes? That's really going to happen?
For 90 minutes. But then,
Okay.
wasn't it great? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean. Go ahead.
Oh, no. But also, the other part of this is I just knew what I knew about Vegas. It was also my first time experiencing Vegas as well.
Right. Right.
So, opening night, you're like, it's opening night. And originally, it was a 2-year contract that was signed, that we all signed. We're like, 2 years, we're going to go strong, with an option to add years, up to 3 years after that each year. So the opening night, the first week, we're like, we did it. But to go into year 3 and year 4 and have sold out shows it's mind blowing, it's humbling, and it's incredible because something that you mentioned before, no one had ever done this. So we were the first ones. Celine was the first ones to take that leap. Franco Dragone to take that leap and make it happen. And,
Yeah.
it literally paved the way for Elton John. We shared the stage when we were Dark. Elton John also played the
The
Coliseum.
$1 million piano or the red piano or something. Yeah.
Yeah, Gloria Estefan, whom I got a chance to dance with on that stage because not everyone understood how to dance on
On a rake. On an
acclimated.
incline. Yeah.
Yeah, on an incline. And then you have like the J-Lo's, the Britney Spears. I mean, the list goes on of how many people came after us.
Right.
So I'm proud to be a part of a show like that where we're like, we're the originals. We're the
You
OGs.
are. You're the OGs, huh, T?
OGs.
No, you really were. And yes, and I mean, even when I arrived in Vegas, and then we'll move on, from passing Celine because we have so much more to cover with you. But I remember even moving here. I think it would have been in maybe your 3rd or 4th year of the show. I'm trying to just figure out the timeline. But either way, you guys were established. And I'm just, to your point, you guys were so respected. Like, it was very much known, especially within the inside performer community, of like, oh, those are the A New Day dancers. Like, oh my, like they're killing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody wanted to be in that show. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and it was such a great show. You know what I mean? And it was just so much. There was a lot of respect, is all I'm saying. And I think there continues to be for what you guys did. So bravo.
Absolutely. And I mean, we also respected the shows that were there because Celine was singing live, we could only do one show a night as opposed to all of the beautiful and amazing Cirque shows and other shows that are there that are contracted.
We were doing 12 shows a week.
Yeah, 2 shows a night. Yeah. So we were the new kids on the block, and we were certainly spoiled in that regard. But we appreciated all the other shows that were established in there. Yeah.
Well, I always loved it when you guys would come and watch my show from the lighting booth. A couple times you guys came. I loved it. That was such a
Dancers
fun
love
time.
dancers, and
Yeah.
and being a part of a show for so long, you want to see what other people are doing, and
Sure.
and we're impressed with the things that everyone else is doing on the strip. So
Absolutely. All right. So, Las Vegas you were here for 5 years, correct?
yes,
Maybe a little longer. Yeah. So then we moved to LA.
yes.
Talk to me about the web series Consequence, which is on Amazon Prime, I believe, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So, from Vegas, after the show, the contract ended, A New Day, I moved to LA. I had been going back and forth from Vegas to LA whenever we were off from the show and auditioning, and had the opportunity to work on some really cool gigs, really cool projects. One being with Tony Bennett. It was an NBC special to celebrate his 80th birthday? Oh, I can't remember. 70th birthday. Tony Bennett, an American classic, working with Rob Marshall. So I had my foot in Vegas and then in LA. So I made the decision.
You were setting yourself up, honey, for success. Yeah.
Well, I thought I
And
was
you
going
have
to
to,
move
yeah.
back to New York. I actually thought I was going to move back to New York, but I was auditioning so much in LA. I was like, let me go to LA and do this acting thing. Let's
Let's go check it out. We're just going to give it a little, dip our toes in the water.
Right, and now I've been here for quite some time.
For like
13. I'm going on my 13th.
I almost said 15, but I knew it was too much. But yeah, so 13.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah, 13 years later, I am really focusing on the TV and film industry, and I had an opportunity to be a part of a web series called Consequences. So it's a really cool web series where our tag is con men with a conscience. So we steal from the people that are not doing right by people, and we give them the money back. And I was brought on as a co-producer and also as an actor, and I play the role of Iminathi, which she's known as a chameleon. And so we finished season 1 about 2 years ago, and I'm so excited because it's on Amazon Prime, so you can check out season 1. Season 2 is in post-production, and I got an opportunity to direct the 3rd episode. So we're
how
waiting.
wonderful!
Yeah, so
I
it's
love
really
that.
exciting. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. During that same time that I filmed season 1, I was also working on my own project. And speaking of opportunities and creating opportunities, so with auditions being sometimes far and few between, specifically acting auditions for me.
So you also have had a lot of success with I believe it's your first short film, like your first attempt at writing, director, everything, producer, everything. And whoa, I mean, the amount of success and attention and great reviews. I mean, this film, it's called Grace. It's been part of so many film festivals that I can't even list them all. But it was part of the Pan-African Film Festival, the Bronze Lens Film Festival. It was shown on Indie Night at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood. I mean, how amazing is that? Like, to have your film on the big screen. But so talk to me a little bit about, like, from the beginning, what was the inspiration for that? And tell me what that experience is like. And now tell me, now that we've been about a year out from, I think, a lot of the showings of it in some of these festivals, what's the post-life of Grace been like?
Yes. Okay. So Grace is near and dear to my heart. The inspiration behind this short film was my grandmother, my mom and my grandmother. And my grandmother has dementia. And a few years ago, she started showing signs of it. It hadn't been diagnosed yet. And I just remember hearing my mom talking to my uncles, her brothers, about, what do we need to do? How do we get her evaluated? Is she going to move in with one of us? What does that look like? And
like some serious life changes here that we got to sort out. Yeah.
Life changes. At the time, she was 94. which in March she is turning 97. Am I right
Oh,
about that?
wow.
Maybe 98. Um, and she was living by herself and was self-sufficient. But as these signs started to reveal themselves, they had to make a tough decision of how they were going to handle what was the best way to care for her. So they felt that the best way to care for her was to put her in an assisted living facility that specializes in dementia. So it got me to thinking about my immediate family and what would me and my siblings do if my parents needed assistance. And so the question popped up, who will take care of your parents once they age, and will it be you?
Right.
And my sister and my brother, they are parents, and I am not. I am single. I am not. And after asking like friends and even strangers, hey, who's responsible for taking care of our parents as they age? And 9 times out of 10, the answer that came back was, well, if you're single, if you're not married, if you're not in a partnership with someone, and specifically if you don't have kids and a family of your own, then you're responsible. So my short film really explores this day with a woman named Grace and her struggle of having to care for her father, who's suffering from dementia, along with trying to pursue her dreams,
life.
her
Yeah.
dreams, her
And the
personal.
potential resentments that come along with that, because I'm sure
Absolutely.
you feel like, because I'm in a similar boat as you in just regards to our families. I have siblings or a sibling with children and who's married,
Yeah.
and I'm not either. So it would have it's exactly that. A lot of times things fall to the single folk.
Right.
With and logistically you can try to you can kind of understand where they're
I
coming
understand
from,
that. I
but
understand.
it's completely unfair because it's almost coming from a place of like, oh, since you don't have a real life, or since you don't have some important enough things going on, you have to go do this, kind of a feeling, right?
Right. Yeah. So it definitely explores several different things. So being a single woman, at being a
It's
certain
hard for us
age,
single
and being,
girls.
yeah, it's hard for a
For
single
us
girl
single girls.
because you're constantly asked, like, are you married? Like that's, or why don't you have kids? And people
What
sometimes
point,
feel
really quick, what point did it change from are you or do you have kids to why don't you have kids? What do you think?
oh
What
gosh,
age?
I honestly, I want to say that it happened not after college, but a few years after that,
So
because
like super early.
so yeah, okay, because I'm from Texas, so there are just parts of, and it depends on what you decide to do for your career, right? So there are people that believe, or just they take a different path. That's all I'm saying. They take a different path, and from mine, and so the path is you go to school, you go to college, you meet someone, you get married, you get the job, you get the house, you have
You have the
kids.
kids, yeah.
You have the kids, and that wasn't the path that I chose for myself. Like since a kid, I knew that I wanted to dance. I wanted to perform. I knew I wanted to tour the world.
Yeah.
I
And
knew I
you've
wanted
done
to
it
get on.
all already. I love
Yeah,
it.
I knew I wanted to be on big stages and you know and work with artists, and that's the vision that I had for myself. That didn't mean that family wasn't important to me, but I knew that this is where I saw myself, and that would come later in life.
Sure. That makes sense.
Um,
But
so
I'm to your point, I'm just saying there must have been a lot of complexities to explore there in the
yeah,
film. Is
absolutely. I mean, so the feedback that I've gotten just from the film, I haven't lived it firsthand. I'm thankful that both of my parents are healthy and don't need that assistance. Um, But in screening my film, it followed with Q&As from audience members that were so vulnerable in sharing their experience of being a caregiver to their parents. And so it's so layered of having to take care of your parents, someone that raised you and that's been the authority figure, and now you are having to care for them sometimes in terms of whatever they're dealing with. I'll speak specifically with dementia. You're having to care for them as if they are your kid, you know, and that is I feel like a huge challenge and something that audience members would express. And then also having to deal with the family dynamics of now you've been appointed, and there may have been some resistance towards that of taking on this responsibility, and also some resentment within the family. So there's a lot of layers to it that it just me, the 16-minute film kind of touches. It doesn't go completely there, but it opens up a really important and poignant, I think, question is, who will take care of your parents as they age? Will it be you?
Yeah.
And what does that look like? And my thought and my intention behind it is not only to bring awareness to dementia, it's also to bring awareness to caregiving, and that caregivers also need support. They do so much of the supporting that they also need this support. And also getting families to talk about those transitions and those hard conversations before they reach that point. So while everyone's healthy, let's talk about it. Is mom going to live with me or with you? How are we going to take care of this financially? What about dad? So let's talk about these things while we're all in a healthy mental
place
and physical place. Yeah.
So tell me this might sound like a silly question, but I'm wondering if you can articulate for me what it must have felt like, or what it did feel like, excuse me, when you make this film, you create this film, you go through that own journey that own internal journey yourself to write it and to explore all the layers that you just described. Now you have the product, you've birthed it, and everybody's loving it. Can you articulate for me what that felt like? That all of the film festivals, all of the showings, all of the feedback, the Q&As, the people being vulnerable, people telling you how it affected them. Tell me how rewarding must that have been?
I feel so grateful, and actually it was a humbling experience because the film was written from a place of, I'm not getting any auditions, so I'm going to write a piece for myself. I'm going to star in my own film. And it was, now in retrospect, looking at it, that was it's so surface. You know, it was just like, I'm going to write something for me to showcase my talents. And then understanding and being inspired by the dynamics of my mom and her strength during this difficult time, and having to understand like what's the next best thing to do for her mom and for the siblings to come together. That brought it depth and made it personal. But it wasn't until writing it and going to my first film festival, Pan-African Film Festival, and being nervous and hoping that the audience, we had a full house. I was in a block, so an hour block with other filmmakers, female filmmakers.
I love it.
That were incredible and so inspiring. For me, this was my first time showcasing something like this. For a couple of other filmmakers, they were like veterans at this, right?
Right.
And the feedback, it was really, I'll give you one quick story. It was like, we did it, like it actually happened. And this is deeper than just me being on film and being on a poster and promoting. This is touching. This story is a snapshot into people's real lives. And after the film festival, I was walking around, and I walked around this shopping mall area that was just right next door, and a woman stopped me, and she goes, "Oh, you made the film Grace." And I was like, "Yes, oh, I was there. I wanted to ask you a question, but we ran out of time." And for 45 minutes, she opened up and shared with me about her experience of being a caregiver, and just being able to watch the film and the struggle that and the kind of the struggle that caregivers have because they're not necessarily there's not a space held for them
Right.
to talk
Right.
about their sadness
Because they're
and
holding so much space for
they're
the person they're
holding
giving care to. Yeah.
absolutely. And so that just opened me up in a way that this film um, is bigger than me. It's bigger than me. It's affecting people and impacting people and inspiring people in a way that makes me proud. So that little seed, blossomed into something bigger than what I had dreamt of. Yeah.
So do you think you'll write a sequel or some sort of
So
continuation to the story?
yeah, yeah. So it's definitely been in my heart to expand the film. The film, like you said, it's my baby,
Yeah.
and it took a lot out of me.
Yeah. I know. I get it though. It's so true.
I
It's so
didn't
true.
realize. I didn't realize like how much it
It's
asks
because
of
it's more
you.
than the physical work. It's more than just the physical work.
Yes.
There's so much emotional um, things to work through there. I'll let you finish.
Right,
Sorry.
right,
Yeah.
right. So yes, it has been. We're going back to square one. The short film has done well at film festivals. I love the feedback that I've received, and it's been the thing that's given me the inspiration, all of the positive feedback and the energy to then sit down and develop it into a feature film. Because I still truly believe that this story just doesn't begin and end with this short film, that we need to explore really in depth what that looks like in
Yeah.
exploring family relationships, exploring how did we get here, all of those things. So it is in development for a feature film. Yeah.
Yes, honey. All right. Well, so listen. You also have a couple new projects that you're working on. I want to give you an opportunity to tell us about those.
Yes. One in particular, we are in pre-production. We start filming, I think, next week. The end of next week. This one's really fun. It's a short film. I'm acting in it. Written by Jalen Young, and it's going to be directed, female director,
Okay.
Emily Mills. I love it. And the film is called Boo Hag or Shadow Man.
Okay.
And the genre that it's in, which is going to be new for me, it's part thriller with sprinkles of comedy in it. Someone called it Comriller.
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 Okay. Okay. Listen,
That's named
you and I make up words all the time, so
yeah.
I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and yeah, so I'm really excited about this. I play this really cool chick, like kind of influencer. I'm an influencer that works in the supernatural world in terms of like manifesting and abundance and reading people.
So
I
is
play
it witchcraft, or is it more of like a medium, or is it more of an intuitive, like what, or is it all of it? All of it.
let's call it all of the above.
Okay.
We're not gonna put it in a box yet. And I
Okay.
play
Oh, I like it. Yes, we're not gonna put her. She's still in creation. She's in creation. Everybody.
right,
Ebony,
exactly.
who is she? Who is she?
So yeah, in this film I play Aisha, and she is just so much fun. She's all the incense and oils and saging
Yes.
that your heart desires,
I
right?
love. Yes, girl. Aisha needs to come over to the penthouse. We need some saging action up in her. So,
Honey, I'll work it right out. Yeah.
okay.
About it. Right now there is bless you.
Thank you.
Right now for this short film, there is a GoFundMe and an Instagram. So you can go to Boo Hag or Shadow Man. That's the Instagram. And then the GoFundMe is Boo Hag. And I'm sure that we'll put up a link later.
Yeah, I'll definitely put a direct link in the description of the episode. But I'm sure obviously if they go to your page or that page you just listed, there'll be
Absolutely.
direct links there as well.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
that. How exciting! I mean, I'm just so proud of you. I mean, you've done so many amazing things since moving to LA. And I mean, when I met you, you were already amazing and successful. So
Thank you.
I'm
I love all
I'm proud to call you a friend, girl.
Yes, girl. I'm thankful for all you. You know what? I just love you, Bill, because
Aw.
I mean, I love you for obvious reasons, but One in particular is that you always give people their flowers and you give them in that present moment. You're not waiting for, you're so supportive and so encouraging. So I have to say that I hope that I'm giving you that same sort of energy back and those same flowers because hello.
Thank you. You're
You
so
are
sweet.
also amazing and always in creation and always reinventing who you are and redefining who you are. And I
Thank
think it's
you.
important for us to do that, especially during these times when we're in a pandemic and everything that we knew shut down. So,
Yep. Or was
being
taken
resilient.
away or something, yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
it is. It's interesting because exactly that. It's like we can even sit here and realize that it really was. We joked about it at the top of the show a little bit. It really was almost to the day a year ago that we did this
Yeah.
original interview, and of course at the beginning of the pandemic, all of us were hopeful that it would only be a couple month inconvenience, but
Yeah.
we're still in it, and I think that it really has forced everybody to have to re-strategize. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
So, but
To balance the stage.
I think though, I really do think, and I hope this doesn't come off as any sort of obnoxious statement or self-serving statement in any way. But I do think that us as artists, not just me and you, but just our community, I think that we're programmed to handle this type of thing. We're
Yeah.
programmed to handle re-strategizing in the moment. We're programmed to handle rejection. We're programmed to handle, okay, this isn't being self-aware, saying this isn't working, and now I need to figure out how to make it work or how to get there in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Or at least
you're
that's what we strive to do.
yeah, I mean, listen, I will say this. There was definitely I had to realize for myself, I'm a pretty optimistic person.
Yes, you are.
So even during this pandemic, when it started, I was just fresh off of a job. Like I was flying from Atlanta back to LA and I was like, "Ooh, I'm ready to go.
Was that the
Let's do
opera?
this."
The opera?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, working for Atlanta Opera. And during that month there, so in February of last year, in February of last year, yeah, because we're in
Oh.
February now, I things were going well. Like I had two other job offers for the summer. I had things set up for for this year, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be the year." And then everything shut down, and I kept trying to keep going and stay optimistic and like, okay, well, that's all right. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and write this feature film. And here we are, 2021. I'm gonna do this. I'm doing that. There's 1,000 things. I was telling friends. I was like, you know what? We have no excuse now. We have all the time in the world. So everything that we wanted to accomplish, we should be accomplishing. And then by month 2, I was down in the dumps. Like real talk, I was down in the dumps. And I realized that I hadn't given myself the opportunity to mourn what was.
What was happening? Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure.
The way things used to be.
Right. That's what I
You know,
mean. Yeah.
yeah, when you are used to rehearsing, interacting, hopping from project to project, walking around freely, all of the little
All the
things
freedoms that we took for granted.
all the freedoms that we took for granted. And so having to your point of being artists and understanding how to pivot or how to shift is something that we do very seamlessly because we have to do it on stage.
Right.
We've been on stage where all of a sudden the person that we were rehearsing with for 2 weeks is no longer there. So now we have to make these micro adjustments to balance the stage or
Right.
to partner with someone.
Right.
And so even though we're skilled in that, there is something this affected everyone and everything. And so I had to give myself a moment to really be thankful that I'm here and I'm healthy first, but also mourn that I would no longer be working with big groups of people anymore. Right. Well, right now,
For now. Yeah. Right.
for now, for
Sure.
now.
Sure. Sure.
And that's been and we're here.
And we're here. Well, listen, I get it. No, and I will tell you that, yes, you absolutely are always a very positive person, and it's always an inspiration to the people around you. And I sometimes lean on you for your positivity as well. So yes, absolutely. But, and I think we all did that. We all had our moment whenever it came during the beginning of this during quarantine. We all had our moment where we had to just feel that,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
but I think that's healthy,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but I think you're doing great. So tell everybody really quick, how they can get a hold of you or how they can stay up to date with what Eboni Adams is doing.
Up to date. Okay, so my website, you can always go to my website. It's my first and last name, eboniadams.com. Everything that I'm doing is right there, but I generally, like everyone, check my Instagram. So, and I'll post projects on that I'm, whatever I'm up to on Instagram,
Sure.
and that is the number one, one Eboni Adams. Easy.
Because you're number one? Is that where that came
Because
from?
I'm number one.
Because you're number one.
Well, I just wanted Eboni Adams, but
Somebody else
there is
had
a
it.
phenomenal Eboni Adams, spelled the same way. She is a martial artist, and she was a star in the movie Blade. So we're actually friends on social media.
I love it.
I get like DMs saying, "Are you the martial artist?" And I'll be like, "No, you gotta, And I'm sure she's gotten some like, "Are you the dancer?"
Right. I love
Yes.
it. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking the time. I always love seeing your face, and I love talking to you and catching up with you, and I just really thrilled and proud of you for everything that you've got going on.
Thank you. I'm proud of you as well. I mean, this is season 2 of
Season 2.
Hey Girl.
Hey, girl. You remember I used to be saying that around the house all the time. Literally, who knew I was going to
know.
start a show called Hey Girl?
Who knew?
I know, it's
But
funny.
I mean, congratulations on everything.
Thank you. So,
Yeah, onwards.
anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
all the way up.
Yes. All right, girl. Well, listen, thank you so much. Eboni Adams, check her out. Dancer, choreographer, actress, filmmaker. The list just keeps going on and on and on. So just check her out.
I think about Debbie Allen.
Yeah.
That's who I'm just following. What the trailblazer Debbie Allen. Everything
There it
that
is.
she started out dancer, and just expanded her wings from there. So I'm like, that's where I'm at. I'm getting my Debbie Allen.
I think you're definitely on your way, girl. All right, girls. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check out the heygirlpodcast.com. Girl is spelled with a U. For all updates and new fun new initiatives. We've got a lot of fun things planned for you this coming up in this season 2. Also, check out our Instagram at heygirl.podcast. And I will be back next week. Eboni, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill.